Welcome back to Now You Know BC, where we're talking all about poop and sewage. My guest today is Uytae Lee. Hailing from Langley, he produces videos that educate and engage the public around urban planning.
It doesn't matter where you are. When you have to go, you have to go.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me here.
You did a piece for CBC about why public washrooms in North America suck. Why do they suck?
Oh man, where to begin? You know, I will say, in doing my research for this video, is one of those things that's like kind of difficult to quantify. Like, I can't give you a number of toilets per capita figure is why North America sucks at it. But I'm sure yourself or a lot of your viewers can relate to the experience of, going downtown, going into the public transit system, going to really busy places where you would expect, some public facilities to be available and really finding them inadequate, right? I like to really give out this example. In all of our TransLink, transit system in Metro Vancouver, there's just one bathroom, and it's right by the C bus.
Why is that?
That this is a big can.
I know.
It's
like, what the heck?
You know what? I can kind of boil it down into two big reasons. First off, it's just the cost. It's kind of complicated, and a lot of people have tried to look into this, but providing public bathrooms in North America just costs so much more than in other countries where public bathrooms are more common. So, for example, the city of Vancouver, they got into a lot of heat like maybe 4 or 5 years ago because they were going to install a public bathroom in Cooper's Park just off the seawall, and it was going to cost $645,000
for one bathroom.
For one bathroom. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, like just in terms of the quality of bathroom you need to build if you're going to have one outside in a public space. You got to connect it to water, electricity, all of that and whatnot. But I'd say the second and kind of more understandable reason for me is that there's a real challenge with maintaining these bathrooms once they're built, right? They understandably get a lot of use and abuse sometimes, and in many cases they've actually delved into chaos, to put it a little bit dramatically, I suppose. Unfortunately, there's been drug overdoses in them, illicit activity. They can get really messy and unkempt over time. And so they become, sort of magnets for controversy as well. And so a lot of organizations, governmental organizations, TransLink, right? They have a lot of hesitancy in providing them because they don't want to deal with such a liability.
And it kind of gets passed on to businesses here, pretty much. Like, if I got to go to the bathroom downtown, I'm just running into a store and looking around to see if there's a can in there.
Well, I think that's effectively what we've done in North America. I like to say that we've privatized the public bathroom business. And it kind of makes sense. Like, there are laws in, cities like Vancouver that require restaurants, require certain businesses to have bathrooms that are available to the public. But of course, they aren't, like, in my view, they aren't like actually public bathrooms because you have to pay for something. You have to ask somebody. There's usually some kind of barrier.
So the city pays between $100,000 and $300,000 so that people can pick up poop every year. 19,000 poops in 2023 were picked up.
Wow.
And it feels like we're just kicking the can down the road, if I may.
That's well said. And I think I hadn't even thought of that figure, but I think there are certainly ways that this sort of lack of public bathrooms comes back around to bite us in the butt, if you don't mind me saying that. Because you look at places like San Diego where fecal matter on the streets from a lack of public bathrooms resulted in an outbreak of hepatitis A. And that's not to even mention just all the discomfort that so many people experience just not being able to find public bathrooms.
I was in Gastown. Here's an anecdote.
Okay.
And this has to do with picking up poops, but there's a reason why they're out there. Yesterday, in a 2-block stretch, I had to avoid 3 piles of human poop that hadn't been picked up in Gastown, of all places, where there's tourists and you would think that they would be on top of it.
Oh, it's just part of the attraction, I suppose.
So what's it going to take for us to solve this?
From my observations, I've really seen 2 approaches. If you don't mind me mentioning, one of them is, the city of Vancouver famously does this, is the automated public toilet. So you can kind of like bathroom that, you know, kind of cleans itself, has an automatic timer that
I would
kicks
say
people
kind
out.
to clean itself is right. Yeah.
Emphasis on that. And I should say, like, I'm not saying this is the solution, because in my observations, these don't really work very well, and they tend to just get vandalized anyways over time. The other solution that I personally feel works much better is to just have way more maintenance, way more frequent maintenance of these places. A lot of public bathrooms, they really just get cleaned twice a day, which is honestly nowhere near enough. I think some of the most successful ones we have in Vancouver, like these comfort stations in Victory Square or in the downtown east side, they have attendants that are just there. And I think that's kind of just, you know, what it takes to provide a bathroom well.
All right, well, it's an ongoing issue. Thanks for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us. Now we're going to go to Nina on the street, and she's going to talk to some people about poop.